Good evening and welcome to today's Konnekt Live Q&A, and we are answering your car-related question. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leo tumeingia mapema sana. We are on time and tusemeaje, watu wameanza kuingia. Let's see wale watu wanaingia. You say hi and tell us where you're watching us from. As you can see, mandhari ya leo ni tofauti because we are filming from Donga Kaspa. Donga Kaspa have a new facility, a state-of-the-art facility along Kiambu Road as you enter Runda, just behind Ace Prestige Motors. And that is where we are. That is where I am today. And behind me is the new Honda Vezel. We are going to have a review of the car behind me on Monday on the channel. So the best thing is actually take some time to visit Donga Kaspa. They have a state-of-the-art car wash, a touchless car wash, and they are also offering services such as paint protection, through PPF installation, and also the Donga paint armor, sunblock tint, name it. 4x4 lift kits. Ukitaka service yote kuja hapa Donga Kaspa. The other thing is, you remember, for those of you who follow me on social media, you normally see my Mark II. So my Mark II was painted at Donga Car Bakery, and now the paint protection will be done at Donga Kaspa. And I know most people have been saying PPFs are expensive, but Donga Kaspa is about to change that narrative from next week. So you better stay tuned. Na mtembee hapa Donga Kaspa. You see how beautiful this place is? It's really nice. It's a place that you need to see. This is a place where unaoshewa gari bila kelele, kuna lounge pale unaketi. Na pia maneno ya PPF ikiendelea, you can also be seated in this room where I am. So let's see, ni akina nani wameingia. I can see David Kamau Maina from Githunguri is online. So let's continue to stream in. Now, as we stream in, also tutume salamu and say where you're watching us from. Today, kama kawa, we answer your car-related questions. So kama una swali lolote about gari, let us know. Hapa we'll read it out and we are also going to answer it in real time. This is where you get your consultation. So before we can start kusoma hizi comments watu wakiingia, there are a few interesting things that have been happening in the Kenyan car scene. Number one, NTSA revised the instant fines, and there was a circular they released, should be implemented this month. So beware of those fines. Also, NTSA has directed that you update your contacts pale kwa NTSA Teams portal, so that in case a message is sent to you, itakuja kwa namba yako. Number 3 is also from June 10th, your paper-based logbook will be useless. Car ownership logbooks will now shift to be virtual, and they'll be accessible on the NTSA Teams platform. Sawa, so utaweza kuingia pale kwa Teams, iko pale eCitizen Teams, not eTeams ya KRA, Teams ya NTSA, and you'll be able to access your logbook, verify your logbook. If you need to download it, you'll also be able to download the logbook. Well, I can see Geritush from Mogadishu is with us. Tycoon P2C anasema hello Eric, ndio kufika watching from Lakisama. Karibu sana Tycoon PC. Emmanuel 5350 anasema hi Wakabi, kindly advise on a way one can reduce road noise in a Mitsubishi Lancer CS2. That is very possible. Bring it to Donga Kaspa, watakuwekea ile noise insulation. Yeah, it can be done. Once you put in noise insulation, it does cut off the noise coming into the car's cabin by a significant percentage. So yes, it is very possible. Na I believe Donga Kaspa wanaweza kusort kwa hiyo maneno ya insulation. Na wako hapa Kiambu Road, ukiingia Runda tu utaona hapo billboard ya Donga Kaspa just behind Ace Prestige Motors. Ace Prestige ndio alipatia hii gari tupige review, by the way, so big up to Ace Prestige Motors. And also there is a very interesting partnership between Ace Prestige Motors and Donga Kaspa. That partnership is, if you buy a car from Ace Prestige worth over 8 million Kenya shillings, you get a free PPF installation from Donga Casper. Also, kama hutafika hiyo bei ya 8 million, if you buy a vehicle priced between 4 million to 7.999 million Kenya shillings, you get 50% off PPF installation at Donga Casper. Tuendelee. Brian Muhura from Kabete, karibu sana Brian. Ruben Wainaina, talk about duty-free EV imports. Well, this is a very controversial conversation because currently I don't believe we have a system to tally the number of EVs that are coming in. I believe there needs to be a structure for us to know that now we are at 999. But the EV duty manenos has been, it has been quite interesting because remember, there was zero rating of lithium ion batteries that are used for solar and also for electric vehicles. But there was also a levy that was charged onto those batteries. So it's a very complicated conversation. I am happy to be a partner of EMAC, the Electric Mobility Association of Kenya. And they are working towards making sure that what you're getting is, or the government hears our plight, amazile, the problems that you might be experiencing with any EVs. But to be honest, there are so many questions with regard to that, because so far we do not have a proper structure. Kusema this is how the duty-free vehicles will be coming in. But I believe it's a very good incentive. Tomorrow will be a very interesting day because I'll be spending my day with an electric vehicle. So kama utanifuata pale Instagram, I'll be posting reels here, what I'll be doing with the vehicle. And also on Sunday afternoon, we are going to have a video reviewing that EV vehicle. It's very advanced, it's very good, it's very quick, and you should see it. Paul Kimemi is saying, hi Eric, watching from Langata, what is the issue with Foresters from 2016? Now, Foresters from 2016, that should be an SJG. SJG. SJGs were not bad if well maintained, but they are very sensitive to oil. The FA20s, especially FA20s, kuna watu wengi sana wamepigwa character development na engine inaitwa FA20. I always say, if you're a first time car buyer, or if you want to buy a local used Forester SJ, you're better off buying one with the FB20 than the non-turbo one. Hiyo itakuserve vizuri sana. And even the non-turbo one, if you're not very careful with the oil, the engine might end up seizing, because how the oil garages are designed, they are susceptible to blockages. So, and you see now, it's not the car that is bad, it is the products we use that are bad, because that problem can be solved by using a genuine oil filter. So if you're buying a Forester SJG, please buy the naturally aspirated one, and you see a turbo. Tuendele, Kenyan Mafia is saying, hi Wakabi, watching from Kerugoya. 1, should I get a diesel or petrol car for long distance, Mombasa to Kerugoya twice a month? 2, which car can I get below 1 million? This now will be the basis of an even longer conversation, because petrol versus diesel, let's split them into 2 and take the pros and cons of each. Well, let's start with petrol engines. They are easy to maintain, that is number 1. But on the flip side, they are not very efficient. They suffer from extreme heat or frictional losses. They are not very thermo efficient. A lot of energy ends up getting wasted in form of heat. So with petrol engines, you'll get a lower cost of maintenance, but higher cost of fueling, because they are not very efficient. Now we shift to diesels. Now diesels have a principle of ignition that is called compression ignition. They do not run on spark plugs. Diesel engines are very, 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 very efficient. They are also, they have very good low end torque, which is another advantage of diesel engines, and they do not have a lot of wastage through frictional losses. So they are designed to be efficient. However, with modern diesels, they come with more emission control devices more than the petrol engines. You will see catalytic converters, DPFs, EGRs, and the modern diesel engine that comes with the high pressure nozzles and common rails, basically common rail direct injections, will be sensitive to fuel, number one, and number two, they will need tender love and care. If you don't maintain them properly, they are going to frustrate you. Also, modern diesel engines are turbocharged, so you also have to be very careful with the oil so that you can also, protect the turbocharger. So in terms of usability, diesel right now is expensive, but that does not change the fact that diesel vehicles are more efficient compared to petrol engines. And diesel engines, well, they ideally, if well maintained, the older ones would last a lifetime. Akina 5L, Akina 1HZ, they were built to be bulletproof. Modern diesel engines, well, that is debatable. So the cost aspect, diesel has become very expensive. And this situation, I can call it a temporary situation. It's not a situation that maybe should make you think of selling your diesel vehicle. Let's give it like 2-3 months. But if you do long distance, a diesel vehicle would be highly recommendable but that should be a modern diesel engine for below 1 million. Tafuta msee amelemewa na kale kademio ka diesel kana kuwa kazuri sana, but you need to maintain it vizuri. Tafuta kamenok, nunua kama panga imekatika, and then repair it and enjoy the ride. Thank you so much, Belvins, for that super chat. By the super chat, mnaweza cheza na super chat pale, mrushe kakitu pia channel iendelee kugrow. Let's continue tuone hapa. Nyamkongo is saying welcome members and be blessed. Asante sana. We have Simon Mwema Peter is watching from Mombasa. Simon Mwema Peter ni clearing agent mnoma sana pale wetu. If you need to clear anything from the port of Mombasa, may it be a car or a container, talk to Simon Mwema Peter. Naitangwa Simon, Master Simon pale. Na ukitaka namba ya Saimo, you can just inbox us tukupatia namba ya Saimo, because Saimo does a really good job. Tukiendelea, we have Aunties Mwans ndio anaingia. Moses Orena is saying, Jambo Eric, does the current sulfur levels in fuel in the country have to do with several smoking cars on the road, especially Germans? Let's talk about sulfur and diesel, or sulfur and fuel. Well, sulfur is a compound that is naturally occurring in fuel, and it's quite expensive to get rid of it completely, because I believe the most sulfur, the lowest sulfur levels on fuel globally, the lowest should be around 10 parts per million. That is ultra low sulfur diesel. So sisi hapa we are bottom of the barrel. That is if there is any barrel left. So what sulfur does, it does not go well with the emission control devices like catalytic converters, EGRs, DPFs, and sometimes even engine oil. Sulfur also corrodes the engine as well, because once it's oxidized, it becomes quite acidic. So there could be some truth in it, but scientifically hatuja prove. But yes, could sulfur cause smoking? Yes, it could, especially with the new cars, hizi gari ziko na that have advanced fuel emission control mechanisms. Also, sulfur is not good for environment, it's not good for health. So you should also keep that in mind. Let's see. Jilidwell is saying, hello Eric, tuned in from Nakuru. Thank you for the show. Karibu sana. Karenga Kyo is saying, what's your opinion on the NV200, like the one you shared reels on with the passenger configuration, for someone who is planning to use it as a family car and at the same time kubeba waru hapa na pale? that is a good vehicle. In fact, the NV200 is underrated. That is what I can say. NV200 is an underrated vehicle. Yeah, so if you're thinking about it, go for it. Go for it. In fact, I would say the NV200 is a good alternative to a Toyota Probox, especially because of the transmission. You know, the NV200 comes with a 4-speed automatic transmission or a manual transmission. The only problem with the NV200 is you have to really work on the suspension, inakulanga bushes sana. There also you have to look at the ignition coils, hiyo choma hizo sana. Hizo ni mashida za za kawaida za Nissan. And now the funny thing is the way that HR16 engine is designed, and the HR and some MR family of engines, you cannot test a coil because ndio utoe hiyo coil lazima utoe manifold. So, but anyway, it's a good vehicle. If you maintain it vizuri, it's an amazing vehicle. David Kamaumaina is saying, please talk about Mitsubishi's 4N16. Is it underpowered? Because allegedly it will be featured in the new Pajero, but different engine tunes, 150 horsepower, 180 horsepower, and 200 horsepower, according to trims. Well, this is a very interesting conversation, especially because of the new Pajero. Sorry to say, but in my opinion, and this is a personal opinion, I don't think there is anything new in the new Pajero because it is based on the ladder frame chassis that is on the L200, the Triton pickup. And you see, the new Pajero is more or less a Pajero Sport. Pajero Sport was the SUV version of the L200 or Triton, just like the Fortuner is the SUV version of the Hilux, and the MUX is the SUV version of the D-Max. So I think the marketing gimmick here is trying to give the Pajero an independent lifeline, whereas deep down we know that this is essentially a Pajero Sport. But talking about the engine, I don't think that engine is underpowered, because if you look at the other vehicles in its class, like the Toyota Prado J250, no, this, by the way, the Pajero Sport should not compete with the J250. Sidani inafaa compete na J250, inafaa compete na Fortuner. That is if we really get to specifics of how that vehicle is designed. But anyway, let's try to put it within the Prado Fortuner category. If you look at the Prado, the Prado J250, if you look at also the Fortuner MUX, the Ford Everest, hizo gari, like the Prado with the 1GD is rated around 200 horsepower. If you look at most diesel SUVs are between 200 horsepower and around 150 horsepower. Some, like the Ford Ranger, will go a bit higher, but between 200 and 1, I would say that is sufficient. I would not call it underpowered, and especially with the different tunes. Josh Homan is glad to be here. Thank you, Josh, for always joining us on this Wednesday evening show. Karota, Uganda, nasema good evening, bro. Thank you so much, Sebo. How is Uganda? Tuambie, how is Matoke? Geritushi saying, Eric, now that we are being sold shit for fuel, can additives save the situation? That is regards to octane and carbon deposits. I believe yes. That is if you are buying standard or up to standard additives. Those ones will help. They will go a long way in helping, trying to improve the fuel quality. So yes, if we do that, tutasaidika. If we don't, hatutasaidika at all. As I said, Blevin, asante sana for the super chat, nashukuru. Na kama kuna mtu mwingine anajisikia na super chat, pia unaweza ingia pale na ucheze kama wewe. That is Belvins from Ngong. David Kamau Maina is saying, I was watching an Australian review, SUV review for four-wheel drive comparison, and I was shocked because the MUX outdid the 250, GX550, and the Everest on high tires with its advanced rough terrain mode. It's underrated here. David Kamau Maina, I would say that that is not 100% true. And hear me out. If you have watched a review by, if you watch a channel that is called Four Wheel Drive 24/7 from Australia, there is something they did with the Toyota Prado J250, and that actually blew the minds of most people in the world, because it proved to be tougher than even earlier generations of the Toyota Prado. It was just epic. In fact, it was used to push a Ford. I think there are some several vehicles, and that vehicle, no, the J250, I would say is just a game changer in the world, in that world, in the world of SUVs. Also, I'm not saying the MUX is bad, but still on the same channel, there was something they were doing with the D-Max, which has an almost identical four-wheel drive system with the MUX, and sorry to say, it did not perform very well, especially compared to the likes of the Hilux and other pickups in the same category. So you see, with four-wheel drive tests, there is so much to really look at, from the driver to even the tires, the driving. You see, we need to, and also you do know that the J250 will be a bit heavier compared to the MUX, because the MUX is pickup based. So if you are to put it, say, apples to apples, I don't think the MUX is supposed to be put head to head with the Prado J250. But any day, anytime, I will bet on the Prado J250. Sometimes these vehicles surprise us, but it's most likely because of the conditions that these tests are being done. I'm not saying it's a bad vehicle, but I would, if you are to compare an MUX to the Prado J250, the MUX will give you value if you are not a die-hard four-wheel drive enthusiast. But if you're a die-hard four-wheel drive enthusiast, the MUX, the Prado J250 has, I would say, a better structure. One, the departure angle is, I think, around 20. It has a very good approach, departure, and breakover angle. Those angles are very important when you're going off-road. Secondly, the J250 is very modular. That means it can undergo so many modes. The other very important thing, the J250 has a center diff lock and a rear diff lock. So that is also very important when it comes to going off-road. Okay, not all of, but most of them do. The other thing is a J250 has a multi-terrain select system. So in all honesty, I would love to see that video, but I would also like you to see that video of the J250. Victor K29. Hello, uko vipi, Mr. Okabi? I'm Victor, watching from Chepkoilel, Eldoret. By the way, Ruthless Focus alienda wapi, because the last time we had that his life was in danger. To be honest, hiyo sijui vizuri, sijui mahali huyo mzee mzima alienda. I'm not very sijui vizuri mahali alienda. Twende kwa na Victor K29. Remember, we have a garage in Eldoret inaitwa Neon Mobility, iko pale Pioneer. Pale Pioneer karibu na A2Z hapo. Utaenda hapo upate mzee mzima Ezekiel Juma. Tuendelee. Vincent Karaidi official anasema Toyota 110 yangu ina shake nikiwa idle kama kwa jam after checking the mounting na kuosha throttle. Vincent, pelekea hiyo gari Suleiman, because there could be so much that could be wrong. Is it, by the way, is it manual or auto? That's also very important to know. Is it manual or auto? Collins Muriel saying, hello Okabi, between Peugeot 308 2018 and the Suzuki Swift, which one would you recommend for a first-time car? Well, depends on what you're looking for, but these vehicles have very different. They have very different personalities, because the 308 is bigger than the Swift. and the 308 comes in two variants. There is the hatchback and there is the station wagon. So comparing it to a Swift will be unfair. The vehicle that should be compared to a Swift there would be the Peugeot 208. And if you were to ask me, I would not go for the 208 for as a first time car buyer because of its timing belt system. You know, it has a wet belt system on that three-cylinder turbocharged engine. The Swift is far much more hardy. It can withstand some more abuse. Plus, Suzuki are very good with their small engines. Yeah, so you can trust them. I believe the 208s, they are not bad, but they are very sensitive, extremely sensitive. Mkusu is saying, hello, Okabi, what's your pick between a Mazda Verisa and a Toyota Sienna? Looking for reliability, fuel economy, and easy maintenance. I would go for the Toyota Sienna because of more space. Peterson Kibara is saying, the main difference between EFI and VVTI ni nini haswa in terms of engine life and efficiency. Peterson Kibara, wacha tuingie class kidogo. EFI means electronic fuel injection. And EFI has like 2 or 3 variants. There is the single port, there is what is called the multi-port. Nikiingia hapo nitawachanganya. VVTI, you see, EFI, there is a very big difference between EFI and VVTI. EFI is basically an electronic mode of fuel injection. That means that vehicle is not a carburetor. Fuel is injected into the cylinders electronically, whether it is direct injection or whether it is indirect injection. No, the difference between direct and indirect is where the fuel is injected. Some of them will inject the fuel inside the cylinders. That is direct injection. The indirect injection is somewhere hapo kwa manifold. Ndio hiyo mixture inaingia kwa cylinder ikiwa premixed. VVTI, on the other hand, is variable valve timing or intelligent variable valve timing. So what does variable valve timing mean? An engine has 4 strokes. There is the intake stroke, there is the compression stroke, there is the combustion stroke, and there is the exhaust stroke. Now, what controls the intake stroke and the exhaust stroke are valves. So valves open and close. So variable valve timing is a valve train because it intelligently and how do I call it? Intelligently and sequentially. You see, in a non-VVTI vehicle, the valves will open at a specific, let me say, a specific point. But variable valve timing inaweza fungua zaidi ama ifungue kidogo. So that is what VVTI. VVTI is basically a valve train. So you can have a vehicle that is EFI with VVTI because EFI is basically fuel injection, VVTI is valve train. And that is why we have VVTI, we have dual VVTI, and we even have what is called valvematic. Sawa. Na tukiingia zaidi utapata kuna vitu zinaitangwa interference engines na non-interference engines. But I don't want us to go too much into that because it might end up confusing people. But EFI is electronic mode of fuel injection. VVTI is a valve train. So these are 2 different technologies. I hope tumeelewana. Kama hujaelewana, we can simplify it. Let's see. Andre saying, loving the conversation. Good job, Mr. Eric. Asante sana. 8ball Pool saying, watu wa diesel wanaona tu moto. Tunawahurumia sahi. Sahi ni blow after blow. Sahi kidogo kidogo unasikia Ebola inakosiwa na diesel. Anyway, Gatu Pesamino saying, hey Eric, between CX5 diesel and CX5 petrol turbo, which is more powerful? The CX5 petrol turbo is more powerful. The one with the 2.5 liter turbocharged. Hiyo ni more powerful by far. Now inakunywa zaidi. Yakuza is saying press and subscribe to the channel. Asante sana Yakuza. Keep on subscribing to the channel to keep this show growing. Tuendele Critical is saying, hey, Critical Z9 is saying, hey Okabi, if you change the bushings in a Nissan NV200 or Atida from rubber to polythene bushes, does it make it last longer? Now, I'll give you a very informal hack of making those bushes last longer. Enda kwa Mkamba, mwambie akutengenezee bushes. Hizo zikikatika nipigie simu. Sawa. Billy Odera is saying, hello Eric, what's your advice between Subaru Impreza 1600cc, Volkswagen Golf 1400cc, locally used for the first time car owner? Bill, these are two very different vehicles, extremely different vehicles. I would say they are extremely different. One of them is fast and fuel economical. The other one is slow, a bit thirsty, but reliable. So if you're a first-time car owner, I would like to know what are you looking for, because the 1.4 TSI is faster, more fuel economical. The Subaru on the other side is well built, but not as economical and as fast as the Golf. So what are you looking for? I would say Golfs require more. Huwezi pelekea just any Tom, Dick and Harry. So especially with even the gearbox, the 7-speed DSG with the mechatronic unit, it can be a bit sensitive. But if you're looking at the value the car gives, forgetting about reliability, the Golf would be a better car in all forms, because you're getting fuel economy and you're getting speed, plus it's a very exciting driving. Subaru 1600cc, it is a vehicle for point A to point B. It's not fast. It comes with a Lineatronic CVT transmission. It guzzles quite a, compared to the Golf, it's very thirsty, but on the flip side, it's also significantly reliable with not so many things to go wrong. Peter Nganga from Republic of Saudi Arabia anasema ako locked. The code father anauliza hatuko kwa kikombe tena. Ya, leo hatuko kwa kikombe, leo tuko hapa kwa Donga Kaspa. Mnaona mandhari venye ni inakaa smart, iko top. Chief Maida is locked in from Kisii. Asante sana, karibu sana Chief. Peterson Kibara is saying Engineer 5A DX inaweza patikana wapi ile mzuri? Engineer 5A inaweza, kuna jamaa anajitanga he sells those engines. Kwa hiyo namsahau. I'm forgetting that guy, and he has quite a good number of clean 5A engines. He was selling them for sikumbuki. I would have to look. See, I can't remember his name top of my head, but once I see, tafadhali ni inbox, because I know by the time naenda kulala nitakuwa nimekumbuka hiyo jina yake, and I can also share his contact. So inbox me on WhatsApp. Now our number is 0710 844 863, and I'll be able to respond with that contact. Najua kuna jamaa na deal na hizo vitu specifically. Chief Maida is saying, how is Forester SF5 2-liter and turbo for an upgrade from a Corolla 91? So Forester SFs, that was one of my favorite Foresters. It was largely based on the Subaru Impreza. The 2-liter and turbo, shifting from a 91, yes, it's a good upgrade because you'll get all-wheel drive, you'll get a well-built car, quite heavy on the road. Now, part of the things that you're going to have a culture shock on is it is very thirsty. Comparing it to the 91, it's a very thirsty vehicle. You might not benefit from the fuel economy you are benefiting from in the previous car, the 91. But all in all, also it's a bit more expensive to maintain. Have that in mind. So when you upgrade, PM Fuko, you upgrade. But all in all, it's a good vehicle. Karanga Kyo is saying, Karota Uganda, he's very well. They have a new president. They have been having a new president for the last 40 years. Kelvin Wekesa is saying, kindly address the changes and improvements between the Nissan Patrol Y61 and Y62. Well, Y61 to Y62. Hey, bana. So here tunaenda Y63, but Y61 to Y62, the change is massive. First of all, on the Y62, we do not have a diesel option at all. That is number one. The Y62 is not like the Y61. The Y61 was built to be rugged. The Y62 is not built to be rugged. It is built to be a luxury SUV. Also, in terms of the luxury aspect, the Y62 is very luxurious, very luxurious. It's also very big, but it's the patrol stopped being rugged at the Y61 level. From Y62, ikakuwa tu. You see, even the bumpers and the bumpers, it has a very good four-wheel drive system, by the way, but the bumpers can't allow it to go to extreme off-road. So you can use it for kuuza uoga. But one thing is, if I was asked to choose between the Y62 and the Y61, well, I don't know. For extreme adventure, I would go Y61. For luxury, I would go Y62. So these are two cars within the same lineage, but they have very different personalities. So there is a lot. There are some of the most significant changes is the overall build of the vehicle. Secondly, is that the Y62 does not have a diesel engine option. Zote is a petrol. Chila Sam is saying, hi Wakabi, Sam here. What's your take on the Mazda 6 Atenza 2.5 liter petrol or a Camry 2.5 liter petrol, both 2013-2015 model? Which one would you recommend? Well, Chila Sam, I would say the Camry will probably outlive most of their owners. Those cars are very durable. But you see the Mazda 6, ideally, if you it's a better car, 6-speed automatic, handles like a dream. It does not feel as boring to drive. You know, Camrys are point A to point B cars. They are not built to be exciting. Mazdas, on the other hand, the Mazda 6 is built to be an exciting car, a car that will, Mazda they have remembered the driver. Well, when most manufacturers are running away from driver experience, Mazda is keeping it home in terms of driver experience. Now, the other thing is also it depends on what you're looking at in terms of age, because an older person might go in the Camry direction, but a younger person will go the Atenza or Mazda 6 direction, because the Mazda 6, I would say it's more responsive in terms of driving. I've driven both cars. The Camry is nice, but I would say the Mazda 6 is more interesting in terms of even looks and even how it feels to drive. Hand creation is saying, is a Nissan Sylphy B17 a good car? Yes, it is a good car, but it needs a lot of care, especially when it comes to the gearbox. The gearbox needs meticulous service. We're using genuine Nissan NS3 transmission fluid. Vincent Karedi is saying, the Toyota 110 automatic, so also to pair number ya Suleiman. So allow me to, Vincent, I'm posting Suleiman's number shortly. So let me just post it on the comment section hapo kwa live chat so that you can get it from there. Just a moment. So there is Suleiman's number. So unaweza mpigia, mpangane akuje aangalie hiyo gari. So now you have Suleiman's number right there. Haya, tuendelee na hii maswali. Stephen Mureithi is saying, hello Wakabi, looking for fuel economy and a little power. Would you recommend a locally used due to budget for town errands? Honda Fit, Aqua, Note e-Power. Would you like to source from me? Yes, we would definitely source one for you. But now, if you're looking for a safe vehicle, sana juu ni locally used. Now, I would like us to because I assume that these are hybrid because of the Aqua and the Note e-Power. If you're buying a Honda Fit hybrid, say 2014, I would not advise you to get the Fit hybrid from 2014. Ile ikuwa na dual clutch transmission. that gearbox sometimes became problematic. So buy the non-hybrid if you're buying that one. But from 2020, Honda got rid of the dual clutch transmission, and now they have an ECVT, which is far much more reliable. So locally used Honda Fit hybrid from 2014, really a dual clutch, I will highly not recommend you get it. But if you can get the non-hybrid, it would be it would be the best. It would be the best vehicle to have, especially after locally used. No T-Power, locally used, hapana, hiyo sita recommend. Aqua, well, it's 50-50 because the Aqua is an easy hybrid to fix. But again, if you're buying locally used, you have to do that battery life expectancy test. You see, sometimes, especially for the first time car owners, not everything is about fuel economy. And especially if you're looking at a car that you want to keep for the long run. Sometimes consider the ease of maintenance, the simplicity of the car. Hybrids are good, but they are also quite technical, and they might be a bit challenging for first-time car owners, or a bit more expensive for first-time car owners. So yes, easy hybrid, yes, iko sawa, but get a Honda Fit and hybrid, hiyo itakuserve vizuri sana, and we would gladly source one for you, Steven Morethi. So you can inbox us on WhatsApp 0710 844 863. We have Steve anasema, hi Eric, sasa niko na Honda Fit, nimeweka plugs original from Honda Nairobi, but what I thought I was fixing is still eating my mind. Nikitoa mguu kwa accelerator, engine braking in a kick very intensively. But sai kuchekelea, but one, I need to know, is the Honda Fit hybrid? Is it hybrid? Secondly, that ukiachilia engine nini ina kick in very aggressively, that is even not an engine issue, that is more of a transmission issue. But nichatishe pale WhatsApp hiyo 0710 844 863. We can have more a more intense conversation there. But ujue, I would also like to know, is it hybrid or non-hybrid? If it's non-hybrid, then we are looking at a transmission maneno, because that's EOC engine, spark plugs. Kinodius TV is saying, what's your thought on the 2019 Mercedes GLA 250? It's a good car. It's a nice car, very refined. At least it has some ground clearance on it. So yeah, I would say it's not a bad car. Tuendelee na Sami Mburu saying, hi Eric, is there something we should know about Honda sedans? Like, is there something we should know? I'm looking for, oh yes, Sami Mburu saying, hi Eric, is there something we should know about Honda sedans like the Civic and Accord? Because kuna kitu hapa inasumbua. Let me look. Oh yeah, is there something we should know about the Civic and Accord, because they are very rare on Kenyan roads compared to other brands? I think people ni watu tu hawajazi accept. Let me say that. If you go to Caplicity, they have a Civic, they have an Accord. So slowly watu wanaendelea wakizichukua, but they are nice cars. They are very nice cars, very good alternatives to other vehicles. They are reliable, they are easy to fix, and they look very good. Haya, tuendelee na kazi hapa. We have Roaming Kenya 59. Nasema Hesbon Brown from North Carolina, nimechelewa but itabidi ni rewind. Hitep kiongozi, tuko pamoja sa. Asante sana Roaming Kenya. Thank you for always joining us as well. Kefa Gatimu is saying kazi poa Eric, asante sana. Medi is saying hello mkuu, thank you for your enlightening channel in the car world. Unaweza recommend Mercedes-Benz E240 2006 as a first time car? Yes, I would, but which E240 or 206 or W211? They are nice cars, they are really nice cars because in the car fiti, but E240 consumption yake iko juu. So alafu, if you bought it the 2005 huko mbeleni, they had a problem with the SBC system, but from 2006 zilirekebishwa, so they are good. So that's one thing. It's a good vehicle, but if you don't mind fuel consumption, huwezi pata A350. A350 would be the real deal. At least hata ikikunywa inasonga. Mhm. Um, so Yakuza is saying we need your WhatsApp number typed in the chat. So I'm doing that right away, Mr. Yakuza. 254 710 844 863. Tuongeleshe hapa WhatsApp. Eh, Kevin Dono saying, good evening, sir. Ranks, enjoying and learning so much from this show. Thank you. Good job, CK. Thank you so much, Ranks Pale. Legrand Roberts is saying, hi, Eric. If you must choose a poison between a Mazda CX-5 2014 2.2D and a T31, which one would you die with? I would rather die with the CX-5 diesel because siku hizi tunajua kuzihandle. Eh. Interesting statement there. Kevin Masharia, vipi chief? I own a Mazda 6 2-liter, handles like a dream, but serikali wanataka watu watembee kama mifugo with bad fuel. Recent started getting engine knock, only to find out it's bad fuel. Hey, mafuta, my friend. But you know, one thing I'll also tell you, see, before a Mazda 10 or a Mazda 6 gets to an engine knock because of fuel, that's bad fuel. That's very bad fuel because those engines are bulletproof, and it's sad. And I'm saying this because before you get to that engine knock because of bad fuel, it means that fuel was very, 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 very bad. And you know, these engines are high compression engines. But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I have no words to even comment about it. Economist is saying for a fast car driver learning the road is a turbocharged engine and no go zone. I've heard it lags and can get jerky. Please advise. Thank you so much, Economist, for the super chat. Nashukuru sana. So one, we should start by knowing which car it is. About that it lags and gets jerky. No, that's not true. That's not true. Because even for you to experience turbo lag, you have to be a very experienced driver. That's when you're going to know that is turbo lag kicking in. And turbo lag normally occurs on vehicles that, one, do not have a variable geometry turbo, and two, vehicles that have a big turbo. Hizo ndizo gari zitakuwa na turbo lag. But normal turbocharged vehicles, I doubt. Now, I think I know where you're coming from. So from the lags and getting jerky, that you're probably talking about a Golf, and that is not because of the turbo, that is because of the gearbox. Now, Golfs have what is called a direct shift gearbox, which is a form of a dual clutch transmission, and under slow speeds, it tends to do a little bit of jerking because it is not designed for low speeds. So generally, is a turbocharged car bad for somebody who is learning the road? Well, yes and no, because if it's not a powerful car, it's perfect. If it's a powerful car, unaweza jipata umeingia nyuma ya lori, especially if you're learning the road kama huna confidence, kama bado una confuse between accelerator na brake pedal, it can be a bit dangerous. But a normal, say a Peugeot 208 turbocharged, it's a good vehicle for first time car owner because those turbos the engines are quite small. I think turbos are some of the devices that are mostly misunderstood in Kenya today. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a no-go zone. Apana. It depends on which car. So maybe a car, if you can tell us which car you're looking at, we can discuss more of it. If you want a deeper conversation on this, hiyo namba nimeweka hapo ya WhatsApp iko 0710 844 863. It's also on the channel's description. Nicholas anasema, hey Eric, what can you say about the Fortuner GXL? It's a good vehicle. You can never go wrong with the Fortuner. Although the GXL is an Australian trim, I presume. Yeah, a bit basic for that matter. The high trim Fortuners are normally mostly the VXs. Those ones, at least, you got features hapa na pale unaweza enjoy, but Fortuners are generally good vehicles. Kusu 12 is saying, hello, Kabi. Why are there very few Subaru SH5 manuals on the roads? I'm considering to get one, but I'm afraid if something happens to the gearbox, will I be able to get spare parts gearbox? SH5 manuals are very few because as we move on to the crossover generation, people are getting lazier and they don't want to drive manuals. So manuals become rare. So, spares are SH5 ziko. You should not be afraid. Spares are Subaru SH5 ziko. More Mombasa is saying, hello, master. I wonder why it was so easy to buy a Crown S1 82.5 liter. I'm trying to sell, and everyone is like, oh, hiyo gari ni mlevi, chukua 300. Sasa shida ya watu inakuanga gani? You see, I think also it's a third world kind of problem because most people do not appreciate, they do not understand cars for what they are. Sasa uenda kuuzia mtu, wacha nisiongee hivyo sababu it will sound bad, but you see the S180 is actually one of the most beautiful crowns Toyota ever made. It's a nice car, the comfort, the smoothness. It's a vehicle that you might even not, it cannot be replaced. Ni gari, yani iko tu fiti, iko tu ligi yake. So I think Kenyans just have a problem. If you cannot afford it, let me ask you, kwani mtu akikuzia ukichukua hiyo gari na 1300 itaacha kukunywa? So the next time somebody asks you that, ask them if you buy it for 300 300,000 Kenya shillings, will it stop being thirsty in terms of fuel? That would be a very good question. Tech Appeal is saying, your thoughts on the Escudo for Project Overlander, which one would you pick? I had a Mark 1 Escudo 3-door, and I would pick that car again and again and again and again with a G16. Ile 4-door school bus is not my favorite because hata hiyo katika sana huko nyuma, it has some structural, but it's a nice car. Only that does not give. But if you can, unaona Mark 1 Suzuki Escudo 3-door, it's a car that I would buy again nikipata safi nitanunua hiyo gari without second opinion. Simply a nice car. It has very short overhangs, basically very light to maneuver off-road. Ni gari fiti sana. It's a good vehicle. Tycoon PC saying, anything I should know about the NZD before I get one? What should you know about the NZD? One, unaifunga na nyororo kama mbwa ndio isiibiwe. Secondly, you need to, hutakuwa unakunywa ama kula nyama in peace mahali yuko nje kwa loko, because you must keep the car where you're seeing it. Thirdly, with the 4-speed automatic, some of these NZDs had a small problem. When it's shifting from gear 2 to 3, you feel a certain jada, something that was a problem with the NZDs and their 4-speed manual transmission. But it does not mean that the gearbox is bad. It can live like that for a very long time. But pia unaweza, it's one of those problems that are hard to understand. But the NZDs were good vehicles, very reliable, very economical, very easy to fix, and they attract thieves as well. Mombasa wanasema S180 ni mlevi. So nimeuliza wakinunua 300 itaacha kuwa mlevi. Let me see. Any other question? Asha Keen Chelsea is saying, looking for a Toyota Passo as a low consumption daily driver, would you recommend it? Budget ni nusu mita. Passos are nice. They are quite spacious in terms of boot space tu ndio hazina, but for daily running, it's a nice little car. Yeah, 500 unaweza pata, but make sure you get a clean one. Make sure you get a clean one. Martin Rubaru is saying, tuned in from Nairobi. Karibu sana, Martin. We also have Kevin Masharia saying, which car would you recommend for an upgrade? Fortunate or Honda Civic 2019 and above? Kevin Masharia, I am not understanding your question because these are two very different cars. And question is, what are you upgrading from? Jim KB is saying, hello, what do you think about the Mitsubishi Pajero IO? Ooh, kama ni GDI, it's a disaster. But if you get the non-GDI one, kama ya jamaa fulani aitangwa Kevin ule wa space ya magari, the non-GDI can live for a very long time. But you are GDI, you're signing off for a weight loss plan. Kenyo Ibrahim is saying, Eric, what's your view on the Corolla GR 1.6 3-cylinder? That's a beast. That's a car I would want to have. It's a great car. Samuel Washari is saying, how is Suzuki S-Cross? It's not bad. It's a good vehicle. Suzuki makes reliable vehicles. The only problem I have with the SX4 is that it has looks only a mother would love. But anyway, they say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Ikawa Miss is saying the turbo I'm considering is a Suzuki Escudo 1.4 booster jet as a first time car. Is the turbo there okay? Yes. Go for it. That's a nice car. It's a nice car. You will enjoy it. It's very reliable as long as you work oil mzuri 5W30 and maintain that car very well. It's a car that you will live with for a very long time, and it's a car that you will not regret. Drake Kevin is tuned in from South Africa. What would be a good upgrade from a Toyota 110? Factor in maintenance issues, please. Now, upgrades come with budgets. What budget are you working with? Because you can upgrade from a 110 to a Lexus GX 550. So we need to know what budget are you working with and what are you looking at upgrading towards. Tech Appeal is saying, so would you recommend swapping the Suzuki G16 engine for Toyota engine for the Escudo? Would I? I don't think I would, and for the following reasons. You see, the G16 is an non-interference. Is it a non-interference? No, I don't think. Yes, it should be, because the G16 is quite reliable as well. Not unless uchokore. G16 kitu haipendi mtu haijui. Because even things as simple as the distributor, if you take it for kubahatisha, inaweza msumbua sana. So I would say that yes, is it well, if you have the money you can change, but I always say if it's not broken, don't fix it. For me, I drove actually, yes, the G16 is an interference engine. So at a timing belt ikikatika, kuna kitu kubwa itafanyika. And G16s are very solid engines, only that they are quite pricey. So is there a need to really replace it with a Toyota engine? Not unless imekupiga viboko sana. I don't know what your take is, but personally I would keep the G16. One, it's rebuildable. Once you modify and install a Toyota engine, you start creating breaking points, because to make the transmissions you have to use an adapter plate. Adapter plate, if it's not well done, hiyo gari itaishi tu na mashida za kutoka gear, So if you have to put in an adapter plate, it has to be done the way it has to be done correctly. So that's one thing that you really need to know. So G16s were nice. Sijui kwa nini unaweza kuwa unatoa G16 weke engine nyingine hapo, especially at Toyota. The crazy ones I've seen are people swapping the G16 to a 1NZ. It will get more fuel economy and the vehicle will be faster, but if you look at the cost benefit analysis, kama G16 haiko inasumbua, acha ikae tu na G16. Kevin Mashari saying, elezea kidogo mambo ya engine oil 5W30, 5W40, apart from thickness mek wangu huwa ana suggest 5W40 for my Atenza. The 30, you know, what basically means is the 5W40 is thicker and the height, no, will still viscous at high temperatures. So 5W30, 5W40, there is no much difference really, but I think based on mileage pia ni vizuri kujua gari yako mileage iko wapi, because you see like Subarus, the ones that are coming, you see busy ma SK9, ma SJGs as well, unapata they have recommended 0W20. So as according to the manufacturer, hiyo gari ikifika over 60,000 kilometers or even sometimes over 100, the service manual advises that you shift 5W30 or 5W40. That is the information I have from Subaru Kenya. And Neon Mobility is we can say an appointed Subaru dealer in Eldoret. So yes, pia vitu kama 5W30, 5W40 hakuna tofauti kubwa, because there is a very small difference in terms of viscosity. Now, viscosity at cold start is the same between the two oils, but at higher temperatures, there is a small difference. So, alafu pia angalia, if you look at some of the oils recommended for the Atenza, I believe 5W40 is one of them. Robert Katina is saying, what could be your opinion about the Mercedes-Benz C200 compressor versus the C200 CGI in terms of reliability? So the difference between the compressor and the CGI is that the compressor comes with a supercharger. The CGI comes with a turbocharger. Now, the difference between a turbocharger and a supercharger is that the supercharger is driven by the engine, by some pulley. It's belt driven. The turbocharger is driven by exhaust gases. Turbochargers are more efficient compared to superchargers, but in terms of reliability, hiyo supercharger hazikuwa zinaharibika sana, but pia hazikuwa zinapatiana boost sana. Both cars are good, but superchargers kuna venye zi wine. But in terms of efficiency, it could be argued that turbochargers are simpler, number one, and number two, they do not put the engine under so much load because they are zinazungushwa na waste or exhaust gases, so they are quite efficient, and they do not have so much load. They don't put so much load on the engine. So personally, I love superchargers, but because of their simplicity. But I would say turbochargers are better, and that's why they are growing common day in, day out. David Mutuma is saying Toyota had a second generation reliability and efficiency. They were good, only that they were a bit thirsty. Spider Marine is saying Jeff kutoka Homa Bay, pokea salamu and congrats kwa kazi safi. Asante sana sa. Madina Fest saying, how does a CX5 petrol 2.5 liter with 260 HP compare to a Subaru Outback with 256 horsepower? I'm confused on what to get. My priority is fuel economy and low maintenance cost. Go for the CX5, because the CX5, number one, irrespective of having, in fact, if you look at the difference in horsepower, the CX5 has a superior gearbox. The Outback comes with the Lineatronic CVT. The CX5 comes with a 6-speed torque converter, automatic transmission that is very reliable, and also the engine is very reliable, not as sensitive as the FB25 on the Outback. So also on fuel economy, the CX5 is better in terms of fuel economy. So if those are the things you're looking at, then the CX5 would make more sense. Madina Fest is tuned in from Nyeri, Kenya. Abdullahi is saying, is the 2015 Toyota Ractis 1500cc all-wheel drive a good for first-time car? Yes, it is perfect for a first-time car. So guys, it's 9 p.m. Time to wrap up for this week's edition of Konnekt Live. Remember that we are going to have a very interesting episode on Sunday afternoon, and then have a review of this car on Monday. So tuko na content kibao, na pia we are bringing I'll be bringing you content, very interesting content on a Mazda CX-60 with a 3.3 liter diesel, and I'll be driving that vehicle from Mombasa to Nairobi. So tutapatana kwa review za hizi vitu, na pia kwa pale kwa socials, Eric Wakabi, Eric with a CK on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, na kwa wale watu wako professional ama kwa wale watu wanapenda keep it corporate, tunaweza kutana pale LinkedIn. So thank you so much. One last question is, hello Eric Wakabi, please can I get a Land Cruiser Prado J150 2019 model manual transmission? Hey brother, hiyo utatafuta sana, hiyo utatafuta sana. So thank you so much guys, and see you next week, same time, same place.